Imagine not being allowed to go to school just because of the color of your skin.
I wish someone could tell me I didn't have to go to school.
Trust me, you need school. I'm Sydney and this is Max, and we're going to blast through the past here in Little Rock, Arkansas as we investigate the Little Rock Nine.
Two kids travel to places. Two kids discover traces of events that all happened before, where secrets are revealed and more. Sydney and Max, blast through the past. Sydney and Max, blast through the past. Sydney and Max, blast through the past.
Where are they going today?
Sydney and Max, blast through the past.
They see the past in a whole new way.
Sydney and Max. Sydney and Max.
Where'd Doc say to meet him at?
He said across from the memorial.
Those statues make up a memorial?
Yeah, didn't you see the plaque? Dare to object to prejudice and injustice.
What's that supposed to mean?
Means everyone has the right to be treated equally.
That's the great thing about this country. The Constitution grants every citizen equal rights.
Tell that to them.
Doc, those are statues.
That's right, and they represent all the members of the Little Rock Nine.
Oh, so these guys were some sort of baseball team then, huh?
No, Max. The Little Rock Nine was a group of African American high school students.
Oh, well, they don't look too happy, so it looks like they didn't like school either.
I don't understand, though. I would think they'd be smiling. After all, they were the first students to integrate Little Rock's high schools.
But at what cost?
What do you mean?
Well, in 1954, the Supreme Court came up with a ruling that was going to integrate all the schools in America. Now, it took 3 years for the Little Rock School Board to come up with a plan.
What was the plan?
I'm glad you asked. You see, what they did was they...
Sydney and Max.
Wow, it seems like those kids must have gone through a lot.
I wonder if it was as bad as listening to Doc talk about mold for 5 hours.
You know, I need to go up to the Capitol, but I'll meet you back here later.
Where are we going now?
To Central High School.
Why? The last thing I want to do on a trip is go to school. So, Sydney, why are we going to the school again?
Because in 1957, the whole country was focused on Central High School.
What, they have a really good football team or something?
You know, it would really do you some good to listen to Doc's stories once in a while.
Well, maybe if they actually affected me, then I'd listen to them.
Desegregation didn't affect you?
Not if I really don't know what it means.
In the 1950s, white kids and African American kids had to go to separate schools. They weren't allowed to be taught together.
Well, they still got us to go to school, didn't they?
Yes, but the white schools were usually much nicer and had many more resources.
Well, that's not fair.
Now you're starting to see. After the Supreme Court made their decision, all school districts were supposed to integrate their schools.
Oh, well, great. They got to go to school together. Now let's go get some food.
Max, we're seeing that school. Look at this. Isn't it amazing?
No, it's a school.
Just think about how it would have been in September of 1957. Protesters, police, National Guardsmen, soldiers, all because 9 students wanted to go to school.
You said the school was desegregated in 1957, so why couldn't the African American students just walk through the front door like everyone else?
They would have if they'd been allowed to. The day before school started, the governor announced that no African American students would be allowed in Central High School.
You said they went to school here. What'd they do, take online courses?
They did go, but not until the president got involved.
What happened?
The president sent an army division in to escort the students.
The army? Isn't that a little bit extreme?
That was the only way they could get safely past the protesters. Each of the 9 students was assigned an individual soldier for protection.
That would be pretty awesome to have a bodyguard follow you around all day. I bet the kids had no problems after that.
Not according to Doc. Come on, there's one more place I want to check out.
What are you talking about? Where?
Sydney and Max.
Another school? Do you miss studying that much?
This is Horace Mann High School. This was the city's school for all African American students.
Wait, I thought all the schools were integrated.
No, the plan was to slowly integrate the schools. Central High School was chosen as the city's first school.
Wait, so those 9 students were the only ones to switch schools? Why didn't any more come?
Doc said that originally several students volunteered, but by the time the school was ready to start, only 9 were still willing to go.
But if the army was escorting them, then what's the big deal?
Well, Doc said that the African American students were harassed by people in their own community. They thought the students thought they were too good for their own school.
Why would they say that?
They probably thought they were choosing white culture over their own.
Must have been pretty hard for these guys. Doesn't sound like they were accepted anywhere.
Let's go back to the Capitol. I want to look at that monument again.
Good. Hopefully Doc will buy us some lunch.
Sydney and Max.
Max, I've been thinking about your question.
Oh, what question?
Why more African American students didn't volunteer?
You already said they were persecuted by their own community or whatever.
That was just a few of them. There had to be another reason.
Well, maybe they didn't want to transfer schools. I mean, it's a pain. You got to get all these new friends and talk to all your teachers.
Max, that's it. That's why more students didn't volunteer.
What are you talking about?
We were just thinking about the protesters outside the building. We didn't think about how hard it would be once they got in.
What, how hard it must have been to make friends?
What friends? They would have been surrounded by people who just wanted to hurt them.
No way. They had all that protection and all those teachers looking out for them.
Doc said the military protection only lasted a few days. And besides, they couldn't stop people from saying things.
What people?
The other students. Imagine how much the Little Rock Nine would have stuck out in every classroom. They would have been mocked and ridiculed every day, more than we could imagine. And there was nothing they could do about it.
Well, if I was one of those guys, I'd just hit the first kid that said anything.
And then you would have been expelled, and then the governor would say that African American kids don't belong with white kids because it creates violence.
So you're saying these kids just had to sit there and take it?
That's why they had to be so strong. And if it wasn't for them, schools may not be integrated today.
So you're saying that the Supreme Court decided that schools should be integrated?
Yes, and it started with a lawsuit.
Well, maybe if we sue that the school year's too long, then we can change that too.
Oh, Max.
Two kids travel to places. Two kids discover traces of events that all happened before, where secrets are revealed and more. Sydney and Max.